Happy Valentine's Day and hello, welcome to Project Insight's Power Tutorial Series, where we highlight ways in which Project Insight gives superpowers to our project managers and organizations using our award-winning tool. Today, we're going to show you how Project Insight helps teams track CapEx and OpEx costs across their projects. This is a newer add-on in our tool. The win is in how easy it is to track these pieces and how PI then automatically creates broad budget views, provides amortization schedules, and consolidates compliance, all to make your work life easier. A few housekeeping items. Everyone will be on mute. If you have any questions, please use the chat. Feel free to say hi now. My name is Matthew Sparkes. With me is Steve West. Steve has more than 2 decades of experience helping thousands of organizations make their work life easier as the founder of our award-winning tool and company, Project Insight. Hey, Steve, how are you
Hey
doing?
there. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, this is exciting. We've always had really strong financial capabilities in Project Insight, the ability to track your budgeted amount, your forecasted amounts, your scheduled amounts, even your proposed invoiced and plan and earn value. And we've always had ability to do CapEx and OpEx, but normally people would either use a custom field for that or they would use the task type. And really you don't, or some other attribute, and really you don't want to actually have to use the task type or some other attribute to track capex opex, because a task might be a certain type of task and be capex and still be that same type of task and be opex. And so we just baked it into the tool so that you can use the add-on and the designations for capex or opex to keep track of your budget. Now, the same thing like before, a whole project could be capex or a whole project could be opex, but normally a project is a little bit of both. And so we made it really easy to designate what the default should be for the project, and then have you the ability to override that on a task by task basis. So we're going to go ahead and start showing you kind of the way this works.
Well,
So
as you jump in real quick, Steve, one of the things that I just want to note on is that you said add-on, and I think that that's the real value of our tool is that it's in addition to the pieces that you already had in play, right? So
right.
all of the financial and budget pieces, all of the task types, anything else that we've already had, we now add this ability to that, and it's such a breeze.
Yeah, and exactly. And the reason, not everybody needs to do this. So why should the fields be in there if you don't?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to install it and say, we want to do CapEx, OpEx, so we want those fields in there. And it's the same against for any of these add-ons in the tool. Like if you're not using a feature, don't install it. Then you don't get your user experience will be much better. So, but let's get back to this. So, I'm going to show you a real basic portfolio view. Here I have just like the entire portfolio in a list. Again, this is just a standard Project Insight report. I've chosen the columns I care about. In this case, I've chosen to show the CapEx and OpEx total. And I can see what this particular project, Texas Healthcare, in our demo site, it's going to have 137,000 of CapEx and 3,000 of OpEx. And this is the total we expect for the whole project. And that's great that people want to be able to do that, but more often than that they need to know what is the capex opex going to be in March, and then what is it going to be in April. And with that we have a real simple report here. These reports are all out of the box that I'm showing you. They're not special. They're driven from the data in the projects. And so here I have a line here for my capex, and this is looking backward and forward. So here we are, February this month. We're expecting um, OpEx to be 8,000 and CapEx to be 34. And then that's February. And then in March, we're looking at 35 and 24. And then in April, 26 and 13. So this information is based on your project plan. So if you shift the task forward or backward because you're adjusting your schedule, these numbers will be automatically calculated for you. And normally project managers will do, what's really good about this is that normally project managers will have to do their schedule in like Microsoft Project or in Project Insight or something else. And then they've got a spreadsheet over on the left side, like, okay, I got to keep moving my numbers around all the time. This kind of eliminates the need to do that.
The
Here's a,
musical Excel dance, Steve, of like this
yeah.
one's going here and now it's going here, and how do you
Well, I mean,
report on that? Yeah.
Excel's a great tool and everything, because it can just do anything you want it to do. But it's also like its strength is its weakness kind of thing. The strength is you got flexibility to show your manager what you want, but then the drawback is you got to keep feeding it the data and you got to work the spreadsheet. So the goal with Project Insight is always trying to eliminate some of that.
Yep.
This chart here is the same data I just showed you, but I'm showing you cumulative. Like, so if we wanted to track how much are we going to spend over that 6 month or 8 month period, I can here's my total capex and my total opex here. So that's just two different charts. Um, this same budget, this is the actual underlying information that makes this chart. So here I am, I can actually see the data on all my whole portfolio by month. So earlier I showed you what's the total for each project, but this is what's the total going to be for each month by project. And if I go to the bottom of my whole report, I can get a CapEx top. That same information I charted is right down here. So you can get the actual data this way. And if you want, you can, of course, export it to the evil Excel spreadsheet further,
Well,
whatever you want to do to it.
or you can just send it to me automatically, right? If I want this one to come every Friday to hit my inbox, I
Yeah.
can have my link right to it, right?
Well, and I think most of our clients that would use this particular tool would probably, if they wanted to actually extract this data, would use the Power BI to do that instead, because this data also in this report is available in the REST API, and you can connect to it with Power BI. So let's
Mhm.
see. Let me go through. Well, how do I set this, right? So if I go to a new project or an existing project, there's when you install this, you'll have a choice here, CapEx and OpEx. By the way, you can actually have more than just CapEx, OpEx types. You can have more, you can actually introduce more of them if you want. I don't think it's necessary, but some clients do have more detail than just the CapEx, OpEx
I
designation, and
I
you
can,
know,
yeah, think of two who want to track, who do track, right?
yeah.
The differential of types within there. So I think
Yeah,
that's
so you
great.
can do that. I just made it simple for this demo. You'll say this project was primarily a CapEx project. And then if I go to my task list, though, what's great is that it'll be by default, you'll see here, these are all CapEx. But let's say this one task down here, we know, um, you know, creating practice projects, this has to be CapEx. We can just edit this one task, switch, or actually this one was CapEx and I switched it to OpEx on purpose because this is maybe an OpEx one. Let's say finalized reports shouldn't be CapEx, whatever the budget for this needs to be. OpEx, you'll just switch that one to OpEx. And like if you make no selection, it defaults to the project, or you can say I'm going to override that and make that OpEx. Now, what that just did is that when this particular task has to occur, the budget changed from the OpEx side to the CapEx side automatically. So it's really that simple to take your schedule that you already have, that you're already putting your numbers in, you already got your total budget on there, and it'll break the total budget into either CapEx dollars or OpEx dollars. And in fact, you can even see that by adding the columns on here. I want to see the CapEx total, I want to see the OpEx total, and I wanted to see the work total. Um, Cost like that. Now, normally it'll just be on one side or the other, except for summaries, we'll have both, right? So this task says OpEx, so its total budget of 1,300 is overrun. Is here. This is an OpEx one. Here's a CapEx one, and this rolls up, so you can actually see even in your summaries. Some projects that are really long and extensive, you might need to see like what level in my WBS is even CapEx and OpEx and give that to your finance.
That's what I was just going to say, Steve. Like thinking of, you're having that one meeting on the fly to say, okay,
Yeah.
during this planning phase, which is this time to this time, how much are you doing within each of these buckets? It's
Hmm.
such an easy way to be able to actually report on that
Yeah,
very
exactly.
readily. Yeah.
Right. So then, and again, like a lot of people do this manually, like using Excel and Microsoft Project or Excel and something else. This allows you to do it right with your schedule. So you make a change in your schedule, then your budget will change. It'll move it to the correct month for you automatically. And then when I go back to the reports I showed you at the beginning, the numbers will be in the correct spots. There's just another couple little extra features about this that I'll talk about since we have a few more minutes to go.
Yeah.
When you install the CapEx OpEx, you can actually even put, if you're using the budget now, a budget is a little different than the scheduling numbers I showed you. A budget is like kind of before you start planning, you'll budget out like let's say a project we think is going to be $100,000. You can put that budget into this tab and then keep track of the 100,000 against what you're scheduling. You could do the same thing with your CapEx and OpEx ahead of time. So if you have a new project, you don't really know what it's going to be yet, but you can at least track them in here, and you can either just put the total in, or you can even put in like how much each period you expect to be on a bigger project. So you can actually keep track of your budgeted CapEx and your budgeted OpEx. And I'm not showing it, but you can do forecasted also. And forecast is usually like an updated budget number. So as you're in the middle of a project, you might have a new forecast that you want to keep your original budget. You can use the forecast number to have what's the new forecast, so the updated number, and then what's scheduled for real, on which is what we just showed you. So these are options on the for the CapEx OpEx, just a couple of them. And to install this, you'll go to your add-ons, go look for get more add-ons, and install the CapEx OpEx type. You can hit configure, and here's a couple of the options. Here's where you actually put your CapEx OpEx in. You can put a color on them if you want to color code them, but you can basically have more than one type. You can tell us, is it a CapEx or OpEx? And these are some other options. And there's even one other really advanced feature that one of our clients pushed a while back, and you can even um, go in there and say allow for partial capex. So if you wanted to have, you know projects that are partial, a portion of every task could be 25% capex and 75% opex using that partial capability. So it's pretty advanced, but it's something to think about too. There's just a few more options there
I,
that
I,
are beyond the basics.
I think though, Steve, honestly, on this screen, that speaks really so well to our tool because it goes to the fact that we can be as granular as you need with your data
Right.
or as simple, and that the level of sophistication for you is a toggle, right? That's the
Yeah.
ease that you have. It's not this, how do I
Yeah. It's
find
just
this? How do I cross reference? How do I do this? It's, oh, I need this now. Here it is, and it's working. So
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing project management for a while, so we've, really encountered many, many scenarios that people have, and we hear what our customers say, and that's how how we know how to make sure that we have the details that you need to do your job, basically, as a project manager. So, one other aspect of this is that you can actually the default is CapEx OpEx is based on your cost side, but you can actually have it toggle over to the billable numbers, so you can have it tracked against whichever side you're using if you happen to be using both. Um, Normally, a CapEx OpEx is for internal projects primarily, and not so much the clients of ours that are doing projects for other companies for hire.
but it's
But
your
yes,
call. We can work with whichever flows you want to. That's the win. So
right. But here's the basically I'm back to that chart again where I can see each, value of each capex and what this much opex in this month and how much capex and how much opex and capex. And so these are all there for you guys to use. So, if you're interested in this feature, reach out to Matt. If you're already a client, reach out to support and we'll get with you guys and help you implement the new feature in your workspace.
yeah, that's the mission. Make your work life easier. So please let us know what we can do to assist. Touch base. Well, we
Yeah.
do look forward to hosting upcoming tutorials as well. And please do join.
Yeah, we're running out of time, but we did it in 15 this
We
time. It
got
wasn't
it.
20.
Yes. Nicely done. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Steve. Thanks for the
Hmm.
wonderful insight there.
Thanks a lot. Bye.